REWIRED, the podcast that shares the coolest stories of innovation, behind the scenes breakthroughs from Intel and AWS's partnership through our partners. I'm your host, Akanksha Balani. I run the global team for Team AWS at Intel. So buckle up, the future of cloud and GenAI starts here. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Michal Lesiczka, the Vice President of Business Development for Cloud and Databases at Nutanix. Michal, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here and having some time to chat with you, Akanksha. Yeah, it's been a fast and a furious kind of pace, I think, between Intel and Nutanix, and it's been a lot of fun, right? I think there's just so much potential.
So on that note, Michal, tell us a little bit about Nutanix, your offers and your services on how we are supporting customers on their best journeys on the cloud with GenAI, and a little bit about your role.
Yeah, sure. We focus on really providing a single platform to run your apps, data, and AI workloads across hybrid cloud, right? So we're able to use our platform, whether you deploy it on premises or AWS, wherever you want to run your workload, you can have that single consistent platform. And now, what do I do at the company? Well, as you mentioned, I run our business development team for cloud and databases. And really what that means is really connecting the dots across the ecosystem of partners. I think for you and I both, hyperscalers are kind of at the core of the ecosystem, right?
Totally.
Almost like that sun that all these other planets gravitate around, right? But there's a lot at play within the ecosystem, right? There's their channel partners, there's other ISVs, there's partners like Nutanix for you, there's partners like Intel for us. So how do we connect all the different dots so that 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 4 or 5, but equals 10. So yeah, I'm kind of the person responsible for connecting all the dots across the ecosystem and seeing how not only the partners can benefit from that, but also customers as well, right?
I love that. Exactly. We're going to call you dot connector moving forward. But absolutely, I think with the partnership that we've had with Nutanix that really understand how they can use technology that's cutting edge and offer that as experience as well as service to your customers and our customers, I think you help us tell the story the best way that we can. So appreciate that insight. So moving on to Michal, tell us a couple of projects, just for the audience that are curious about cloud, that are curious about Gen AI, either are starting their journey with either one of these technologies or augmenting it. Tell us a few success stories that you're super proud of.
So I'll give you actually a specific example. So, if we think about let's start piecing together what a solution would be for a customer that's trying to get to the cloud and maybe get out of their on-premises data center, right? Well, first they need the flexibility of being able to buy or rent servers and so forth. And those servers need to be powered by something. Well, right away,
Right.
you need AWS and Intel, right? Intel's going to be the engine to power those things. AWS is going to kind of give you, like, if you will, the fleet of cars to rent and when you need them and when you don't, right? And give you that flexibility. Okay, well, now if you're going to go and rent a bunch of these cars, right? Let's say, well, you need an operating system. I mean, you need to know how to drive them. You probably don't want every car to look completely different and learn how to drive 100 different cars, right? You
Right.
want to be able to get into any car you want potentially, right? And be able to, okay, I understand how to use this thing, right? So that's Nutanix's platform, right? What seems like such a simple task, which is let's just move some services off of on-prem to the cloud. But it's really complicated because you have these CapEx investments. What do you do with CapEx? What do you do with OpEx? How do you optimize things? How do I make sure I have the right engine, the right platform? So the reason I think that these projects are exciting is because it really shows the power of the ecosystem, right? Like 4 or 5 companies coming together and really painting like this beautiful migration story with the customer and kind of being able to knock out that one critical hurdle at a time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more that it does take a village. And I would say when customers are embarking on their journey on Gen AI or cloud, choosing the right expertise with the right platforms that are proven out to success exactly through this, matchmaking of, building all the pieces into this massive puzzle is really exciting. And I think it's partners like Nutanix that kind of get the entire ecosystem together. All right, but well, speaking on that same note, then Michael, let's talk about how you drive this personally in your day-to-day personal life. So I'm going to call this section the confessional time. What is the most unhinged thing you've done or you've utilized Gen AI for at work or personally? And be honest, this is a safe space.
Sometimes like I'm in a really bad mood and I like write an email and I was like, maybe this email is not that nice. So let me get another like, let me
Gen AI,
get
make it nicer.
here or am I thinking I'm being nice here? So definitely used it for that for 3 times saying, hey, make Michael look nice in this response. Quite frustrated.
I love that. I love it. Okay, so on that vein, we always need to be futuristic and forward looking, Michael. So, what do you feel
Mhm.
are the most outlandish predictions you can make based on the future of what you're seeing in our industry today?
Yeah, I think I think there's so I like back in like the mid 2000s when I was I was working on at Microsoft, where at the time was Red Dog, right? There's a lot
Mm,
of similarities between then and the cloud was coming out, right? And kind of becoming more mainstream. I think there's a lot of similarities that with AI there, where we talked about, oh, all these jobs are going to be eliminated. No, there's going to be no
oh yeah.
DBAs. It'll be all SaaS services. You don't need admins. You don't need administrators or anything. And people were. I remember actually I was on stage and me and one of my coworkers were on stage and said, hey, there's no more debasing. And then we were in front of like a SQL Server conference, and I'm pretty sure they threw like tomatoes at us.
Oh no. No way. Holy mother.
But like, I don't think it's a crazy prediction, but I do think that if I look at the traditional jobs they were they're done right when it comes to like infrastructure and how do you manage services and so forth, and now I think that's going to be much more at a global level and much more at all types of jobs than the cloud what cloud did for like more maybe technical jobs.
I
So
agree.
I mean, like if we look at like our roles, right, around like business development and connecting the dots. I mean, maybe I can do a better job, but it's hard. Right? Like at some point,
It's
you
difficult.
do need to help each other, right? So
No, but hey, if they managed to clone us so we could do more with our customers, more power to them as well. But yeah,
yeah,
no, I love that. That's super visionary of you, Michael. I agree with you. I feel we'll be allowed to be more specialized in what we're good at and coming in with the right data to feed the right engines to keep the operational and the regular motions on the on off scale as well as scale through Gen AI is possibly the right way to go because all of a sudden we get to do exactly what we like to do and what we
yeah.
identify professionals versus having to do all this other stuff that hopefully Gen AI takes away from us.
AI relate to all the stuff we're doing, right? I think, look, I think most models that are designed and kind of the foundational models are all going to be created in the cloud, right? There's
Yeah,
just way too much compute power that's required to go build these models. So I don't foresee that ever happening on premises, right? When I
yeah,
think about it, kind of the hybrid cloud story and the vision of that. But if I think about, hey, how do these models then get customized for specific uses, whether it's at the edge for specific use case? I do think then there's a very compelling hybrid cloud narrative where that foundational model that was trained in the public cloud also
mm,
gets customized potentially with private data at the edge and deployed at the edge, right? And then refined back at the cloud. So
yeah.
I think about kind of what we're doing, like it lends itself very well to how I think AI is going to be used in the future across the public cloud and the private data center and the edge, right?
Exactly. I think in terms of the extraction of the thoughts for infrastructure for our customers and keep it focused on data accuracy to make sure that their businesses are a lot more profitable and their products are a lot more relevant for their customers. I think Gen AI can really help solve for those. It already is, but I think the use cases can expand given the fact that we've got this influx of startups that are doing crazy stuff of offering every single thing that makes our life a little better. I think that's exciting as well. So looking forward to the future for that as well. Well, that wraps up our show today. You've been listening to Rewired, the podcast celebrating innovation at the bleeding edge, brought to you by Intel, AWS, and our favorite partners today. That is Nutanix and Michael.
Well, thank you for having me. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to continuing to partnering with you and Intel and kind of the exciting things that are going to come next as out of the partnership.
Absolutely. And for those that are watching and are going to AWS reInvent, you're going to be able to see the joint partnership of Intel, AWS, and Nutanix come alive. So come join us at reInvent as well.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, audience. I'll catch you in your next episode. Take care.